Good morning. So I had a really good time last night. I think I think that ever since I've been on this journey, like full head on, this is the first time that I've really been excited about doing something by myself that didn't have anything to do with, you know, chasing or didn't feel like I was lead pusher. Lead pusher means like doing something because I don't have other options or something like that. It felt like I really wanted to go and I had a really good time. I met friends, people that I know up there when I went, including a new friend that I met with my twin just a couple weeks ago at the beach, and he was up there, and it was a good opportunity for us to be able to kind of build a rapport on our own. When I go places with my twin has a real presence to him. When he comes into a space, he is he has he like pulls he's like a magnet. He pulls attention to him. He has a real strong presence when he shows up somewhere. And so I also have a presence, but when we're together, it's kind of like that. The dynamics are different always. And not to put any kind of judgment on it, good or bad, but it's just different dynamics. And I think that when him and I are together, it's kind of like we are mm, perceived, maybe. I don't know if we're kind of perceived as we're together. um, People are always asking us if we're a couple or if we're family or what our connection is, because we look similar. We look like we belong to the same tribe. Um, but I think that without having without having his presence there, then also my dynamics are different the way that I am, because when he's there, I'm with him. And when he is not there, then I'm completely open to the surroundings. And last night was the first time I think that I really got excited about going somewhere that didn't have anything to do with him, or it didn't. It wasn't. It was non-dependent, and that was. I'm thinking about the choice of words, non-dependent, because on the one hand, I don't have any kind of dependencies on him. Like our physical worlds have no dependencies one on another. Um, and I'm wondering about like the emotional. And I think that part of this twin flame journey is finding the balance to where there is no dependency. It's all, in, what would you say, like the word is like you're there because you want to be there. I think that later on, when if you're able to cleanse yourself, maybe there could be dependencies on just trusting that the other one's going to be there for you. um, but yesterday, that was a really fun, and I'm most excited about uh, that push energy, the chasing energy, that I didn't feel it. And that, I think, is one of the things that I'm most excited about, because it opens me back up to life. Like, there was so long that I wasn't finding any kind of joy in anything because of this the constant twin flame saga going on. It's like constant in your mind. And I think that we're getting to a place of relaxation. It's been a few days since I've seen him. Today is Wednesday. The last time we saw each other, I think, was on Saturday. And we've had contact a couple of times back and forth, but I don't feel that, I miss him and I like to see him, but I don't feel that desperation around it, or that need to chase. And I also feel like I'm excited about my work again. I'm getting excited about my work. Um, Yesterday, I spent a lot of the day procrastinating, but I did do quite a few important things by the end of the day. And I think that also once I decided that I was going to that singing circle, and the place was beautiful. It's about a half an hour from here. It's in Rosh Pina. Rosh Pina is about a half an hour north of here, but you have to go up the mountain. So already it is a lot cooler than it is here. Already, they wrote to bring a sweater with you just in case, which is being in this hot land. Um, it's relieving. It wasn't really that cool. I mean, it was a lot cooler than it is here, but I didn't need a sweater. Um, but I danced. That was a lot of fun. I had a dancing session with myself, and that was a lot of fun. And the place there was like, it's kind of like foresty and leafy and this big grass area where we did the singing circle, and they had goats there and they had like chickens, and the place is called like the community garden. And so it's a place, I guess, where you can come and do different kinds of meetings like that. And it was on Dana. Dana is like pay however much you want. They pass a hat around. So it was three musicians, and they each play several different instruments. And other people also brought instruments. So my girlfriend that I met up there, she brought her panton, and she plays excellent. Maybe she'll come to the beach this week. She acted like she is going to. Like we talked about it, and I had a really good conversation with her. And what I'm realizing is that there are a lot of us that people are going through tough times now. After the corona, there's a mass awakening all over the world, and people are waking up, and where they're waking up is where they are on their spiritual journey, their amount of awareness. And people are waking up and need guidance. And what I'm realizing is that us, and I can see by the community that are following me, the people that are writing into me, the level of awareness that um, is among my viewers, the people that are writing in, that we're at a very high level of awareness. We've been on this spiritual awakening for a long time, the spiritual journey is constant. We're going to be there's no place where we're going to get and we're going to say, okay, we got here, that's it, no more work. I mean, there's always going to be expansion, places to expand. We overcome our weaknesses and we overcome our own, and we help others, and everything is constantly expanding and presenting itself in our lives. So we're always going to have what to do. We could live a million lifetimes and still not do everything that there is to do, or understand everything that there is to understand. There's always a continuation of where we're at. And from where we're at leads to the next point, leads to the next point, leads to the next point. That's why I'm talking about all the time about following my nose, because you can't jump from here to there unless you do like a quantum leap, which you can do in life. There are quantum leaps, but um, you have to go through the processes. Sometimes you can just have like this aha moment and you jump 10 steps ahead, but you still have to base that off of a jumping point. So it's always one thing leads to the next level, leads to the next level. And every time we go up these levels, there's pain and evolving. And I met my girlfriend last night, and we had a really good conversation because she's at one of those places where of reevaluation, of of losing it in order to find it again. So, and one of the things that I was explaining to her that we were talking about is that you actually have to go through it and overcome it in order to come above it and get the lessons that you need. You can't not feel the pain and get the lessons. You can't, um, you have to experience the Bilbul. The Bilbul is like when you get the not knowing, the places of misclarity, call it, or where you don't have clarity in order to gain the clarity. You have to go through it emotionally and overcome it. Like overcome it is, well, not even overcome it is the word. It's like know that you can bear it in order to gain your power, your super strengths. Because when do we lose fear? We lose fear when we know that we can manage it, when we can trust ourselves. So when we go through these extremely painful experiences and go through our traumas and go through all of these things, that's when we find our inner strength. And then we're not afraid of it anymore because, first of all, we've already solved it. And second of all, we learn how to trust ourselves that we're going to know how to go through these things and come out the other side. And that and the more we go through, the more we understand that this is just another experience, just another experience. And I'm going to come through this. I'm going to come through this. And there's so many people now all over the matrix. People are waking up. People are wanting more. People are looking for satisfaction. People are wondering, what is this all about? What am I doing here? Wait a minute. This isn't the life that I wanted. What do I want from life? And those answers, when you're stuck in this, in the mind that is closed in generations and generations of consensus of how you're supposed to be, and that have been closed since we are children, we're taught not to think what we think. We're taught what to think, what is proper to think. Um, we are lost. And so when we all of a sudden wake up, we realize that there's more. There's an inner draw to find more satisfaction. What am I meant to do? What do I want to do? How do I do it? And there aren't answers because you're living in a world. Your surroundings still say the same. You're not living in a world, with where in similar minds attract similar. So in my world, the people that are in my life are very similar to a lot of the people that are in my life are on a spiritual awakening path and have come far. And even the friend that I was talking to yesterday, she is also she's a healer and she does all sorts of therapies for people. And to meet her, and she was actually talking to me about um, really deep things that she's going through actually like the stages of mourning. And what is she mourning? She's mourning past ideas. She's mourning letting go of things that she's always wanted. For instance, um, she's been single for 12 years and hasn't found a partner. So she's giving up on, you know, realizing that it may just be, letting go of that idea. And in letting go of that idea, and that was something that we talked about yesterday, that in letting go of that idea, a lot of times is what allows that to flow into your life. Because when you are stuck on finding and you're searching and you're looking for, you're trying to grasp, it's just the same energy as the run energy, the chase energy and the twin flame journey. That's why I think on this twin flame journey, we're going through all of these emotions that people go through, but we're going through them to the extreme. So I have my coffee here, so I wanted to free up my hands. So I put my pod so it would stand. And now it needs to be really stable because I'm sitting on these boulders again, and there's like holes in the boulders. And if my phone loses balance, and well, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to make it into my reality. It's good. My coffee, and I love this jar. It's like, oh, it's not that jar I was thinking about. Anyway, I like this jar too. So what I realized is that as divine feminines, and this is something that I really energetically yesterday saw, watched the video from yesterday. I'm going to put it up before this video because I always try to put up my videos in time sequence as they happen. that yesterday really the floodgates like opened and I had this like aha moment. There's so many aha moments on this twin flame journey, but I could actually see, I could see it energetically. I could see the energy, and I could see that we are divine feminine. And as divine feminine, we are spiritual leaders, we are emotional leaders, we are natural born leaders. And I can see it now. We're leading into the new world, into the new way of thinking, which is actually the most ancient way of thinking. We're leading people back to their core essence. And in order to do this, we have to be able to find that balance and our twin. And it's not only us. There are a lot of people that are awakening that have massive gifts to give to the world. And what I've noticed on this twin flame journey is that there are so many people all around us that are going through the exact same things that we are going through. And we are the blessed or the graced ones that we have these partners to work with that catapult us into this spiritual awakening, and that we have the capability of explaining it and bringing it into words and leading by an example of what divine feminine looks like, or what divine masculine looks like, what it looks like when you come into wholeness as a being. And that is the example, because when you become whole, every other person that you meet can pick up on that essence, and they want more of it. They want in themselves to be whole and to feel that wholeness and to feel that connectivity. And that is what we vibrate out when we are in our righteous self, when we come into our own wholeness. And coming into our wholeness also is what allows us to find balance with that yin yang fiasco we have going on with our twin. So in doing the mission, not only do we complete ourselves and we lead as an example, so we have come to do the mission that we've come here to do. So the twin flame mission is leading by example. It's coming into our wholeness, and we don't even have to do anything except for work on our own selves, because once we find our divine core and we're connected straight with the divine, and we come into our pure essence, there's nothing that we need to do. It happens around us just from our being. And that is exactly the God essence. In Hebrew, the God is pure existence. That's all. The word for God is it's like it's Yehovah, or like a pure, it's like a being or existence, or there's so many different names for God, but the core meaning is just perpetual existence. It's just being in the now. It's a being consciousness. It's just a being, or be. And it's a concept that's kind of hard to grasp, but when I'm looking at it through this perspective of twin flames and actually understanding it and able to bring it into words, and this is kind of channeling, then I realize that coming into our pure essence just it doesn't require anything from us. There is no effort in it. If on this twin flame at first it's like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Where do I need to be? How do I get that other person? Well, the attraction is so strong, and then you get attracted and you get thrown away, and you get attracted and you get thrown away. And it's finding that, and then it's like going in these loops, and slowly the loops start, either you could look at it two ways, like paradoxical. Either you start getting to a stillness with your twin where you can just be, or you get going so fast that you find a balance, like those frisbees, when people get frisbees on a stick and they find the perfect balance. And if one part is out of balance, the whole thing flies. And so both partners have to come into this full balance in order for it to be complete, in order for the two to be able to be as one, in order for the black and the white to coexist. And I can see this so clearly energetically that, I can see like the yin and yang. It's the constant going around, but and you never really, it's never really catching. It's just being in this dynamic. And so there is no holding on. It's finding that balance of letting go and being there at the same time. It's, and as soon as you try to grasp it, it's gone. It's gone. And it's gone. And the only pain that we're feeling is the pain that's inside of us. So we have to dissipate that pain, which I realize that there is just a certain amount of pain that you have to go through. Sometimes, when you go through the dark night of the soul, you don't even know what the pain is about, but you're burning through your internal pain. You're burning through things that have happened to you as a child, your core abandonment wound, which happened when you were born. You're thrown into this world, and all of a sudden you're separate from your mother. You're separate from core existence. You are your own entity. It's like this ultimate abandonment. And then we go through all sorts of other abandonments and insecurities, and we have to overcome all of those things. But even some of the core pain that we have, it happened to us before we even remember, happened to us, or we received, or we were part of before we even remember, crying and really wanting somebody to pick us up, and nobody picked us up. Nobody gave us the comfort that we wanted or yearned for. We had to calm on our own, which I also think is a really good thing, to have a baby be able to calm themselves, because then they learn in that how to do their own self work and how to just sit in pain when they're an adult, because they already have the mechanism. The mechanism is already there. And so what I was realizing with my girlfriend, and I've realized this more and more and more and more, I've realized it with a lot of different people that I've met more and more in the past year, is that we are all going through the same things. I find people that are channeling on the internet, and it's like they're speaking what I'm going through. And then I realize all of a sudden that I'm speaking what a lot of other people are going through, the things that I'm going through or have gone through, or that I'm able to see. There's so many people that are going through the same thing with this mass awakening, and it is our mission as we go through these things to be able to hold the rest of humanity. So, and I don't mean it in a way that it takes anything from us. It doesn't take anything from us. It goes right back to that leading by example, is like the God essence that runs through us. It's just finding the way to be, and to be in your righteous, full, stand up, strong being that you are, in your complete power. And as that, you lead as an example. You show that there is a different way of living, and that we are our own being, and that there is God's source in us, and that we are provided for, and that we are divine beings, and that there is more here than just the physical world around us, and that we are always connected, and we are never alone. We are always provided for, and we belong. We belong to this earth. At the core, we are connected. We're connected both spiritually, magnetically, electricity. I don't know how you even explain that. We have a life light going through us. So that is the life light of the universe. We receive light from the universe, just as our body is connected to the ground. Our food comes from the ground. Are the minerals and the water and everything that flows through us comes from this ground, and has always been here since forever. Since this ground has been here, every single atom in my body has been here since the Big Bang. I have never been separate from. I have always been apart from. And in that, you can find extreme. Um, there's a big bird over there flying. It's like massive. It has like these massive wings. It's on the other side. There's no way I could film it because it's like tiny over there compared to the mountaintop. I already have experience with that, but it's massive. I can see. It takes me off of my rant that I have going here. So we are inseparable. We're absolutely inseparable, and we have always belonged, and we're of this earth. And just like the turtle is born of the earth, and just like the plant is born of the earth, so at our core existence, we belong, and we belong in this habitat. We were born into this habitat. We can't exist in any other habitat. Try to take us and put us on a different planet. We belong here. We're creatures. If we take out our humanity and our ego and all of that, we are creatures of this realm, of this place. This body came in manufactured. God manufactured for this existence, for this 3D existence. We got the maximized avatar here that is suitable for the exact weather, the exact temperatures, the exact food, everything exact. If this earth was 1 millimeter in a different direction, everything would be out of sync and out of harmony, and we wouldn't have a habitat and we wouldn't be able to exist. So we're like a mail-in order for this life here. And when you see that, you really see that we have always belonged. There is a larger picture than just us. And many, many, many of us, most of us, are going through the world feeling like we're alone, feeling like we don't belong, feeling like outsiders, feeling like others are better than us or worse than us, which is the exact same thing. Thinking that we're less than or more than others is the exact same thing, because each of us is born equally. You could look at it as each of us is just a big bag of bones and cells and atoms, and every single atom in existence is of equal importance. One atom can't exist. If you take one atom, you see what the atom bomb does. It takes everything out of proportion. That's why there's such a big boom. You're taking something out of its existence. You're taking something and you are splitting it. One little atom. Imagine one atom that you take out of existence, how powerful it is. Imagine my whole being, how many atoms are in me, millions and trillions of atoms, and you cannot take me out of existence. I belong here. I am of this world. So when you think of it that way, you realize I am of this world, but at the same time, I'm of a different world too. There's other realms and there's other simultaneous existences, even in this 3D. There's so many, anything that you can imagine for yourself is a possibility for yourself. If you imagine yourself sitting on a yacht in a mansion, or you imagine yourself like yesterday, that little place that I was at yesterday, I could just imagine myself living there. It's like a fairy world. I love that place. It had goats. It's like I always say, I want to have goats. It had goats. And it was like a fairyland. And the more I can imagine myself living there and understand that I'm worthy of it, and kind of tell myself, okay, that is a good place I want to go. That's an anchor. The more I can do that and hold that vibration, I can bring that into existence. And because there are lots of different timelines and there's lots of different ways to be, and there's lots of different places to live. In my life, I've moved around so much, it's obvious to me. There's so many different places and there's so many different ways of being. And that if I don't like where I am now, then I simply need to change it. And I need to change it mostly by doing my self-work. I realize that we pull into our lives similar like kind. So if I change myself into what I want to be, then I will pull into my life all of the circumstances that brings that person into existence and that way of living into existence. Just like if I'm living the life that I'm living, the people that I'm meeting are already well on the spiritual path, and because those are the similar type of people that I have, the things in common with that come into my life, that are the places that I go bring those kinds of people, the things that I like to do, those kinds of people like to do. So it's natural that the people that I'm going to meet are going to be people that are kind of similar in different ways to me, that we have something something that exists simultaneously together, that we're drawn to each other. It's less likely that you'll find me sitting around with people that do things that don't interest me, or that are strictly in the matrix and going according to the consensus. You know, those kinds of conversations simply bore me, so I just won't be there. And I mean, by nature of things, not with any kind of this is an observation, not any kind of you know we call it just like not putting any kind of judgment on it, because everybody is where they're at, and I've been on so many different places on the spectrum, and so many different spectrums. I have no judgment for people that are wherever they are on their path, coming from being an alcoholic and completely insecure and obese and not believing in myself in so many different ways, um, that I have an in-depth understanding that we are all coping, and we are all um, doing the best that we can, and working with what we have and with the beliefs that we have, and that everything has come into existence for a reason, and every person is where they're at because of their own personal nature and what happened along the way that brought them to where they are. So, really have no judgment in that way. I have understanding and empathy and understanding, not sympathy. There is no sympathy, because I understand that everybody is where they're at for their own lessons. So it's all a strength and it's all a blessing. So wherever you are on your path, it's where you're meant to be. And everything is divine and everything is an exact. And if you're listening to what I'm saying, then you're already way ahead of the game. You're already, if you're understanding these concepts and you're in these worlds, then you're already way ahead of the game, and you're already way connected, because I understand that in order to conceive this, you already have to be way well on your path, and um, and already rising above. And what I'm understanding is that there are more and more people that I see all around waking up, and they're waking up right smack in the middle of the matrix, and they're lost, and their whole universe is shaken. All of a sudden, they have no ground beneath their feet. Their income has been taken away. They don't know how to make it, how to live without that. All of a sudden, they lose purpose and meaning in what they're doing, and they're searching for meaning and for purpose, and to understand their higher being, and they're searching for guides or people that understand what they're going through. And us, as people that are already on this journey, on the spiritual awakening journey, and the ascension, especially on the twin, well, not even especially, also on the twin flame journey, the mission is to come into our divine selves and then be guides to the masses on other ways of being. And again, I'm going to go back into saying that there is no effort in that. So once you rise, and it doesn't matter where you are, because every step along the way, you are pulling people with you. So a lot of there's so many different people that connect to so many different levels. So if you're at a level of ascension where you're talking about the ethers and you're talking about God source, you might be so far away on your ascension from the people that are just waking up in the matrix, to where they can't even connect to what you're talking about. So each and every person on this spiritual awakening and where they are on their path um, has, as far as you get up on the pyramid, the more light you shine downwards. It's like a pyramid. So the further you are up, the broader your pyramid. And many times just being one level up has a lot more impact on somebody that is right on a level that needs exactly that lesson than somebody that is way up in the ethers, broadcasting down this massive pyramid. Just because that somebody that is here is so far away from somebody that is here that there is no connection that can be made. They would have to make a quantum leap in order to get to that place, which also happens, when a soul is ready to wake up. Sometimes it just happens like that. You can jump up to just the heights of the heights when you hear something, and all of a sudden it changes your whole world, and you make a realization that it just changes everything. And another thing that I realized with this girlfriend, because she's also a therapist, she also helps people rise. I don't remember how she does it, but she has all sorts of things that she works with. Music, I think, also. I think aromatherapy and all sorts of things. I think also maybe with touch. She works with some kind of touch. But the thing is with people that have risen and they're already in therapy, helping people, and it's like a constant rising. So you rise and then you fall back down into, old thinking patterns, and you have to work something out, and then you get above that and you rise, and then there's another thing that you have to overcome. And you're always, it's like a constant, it's like a spiral. You're going up and down. You're going up, and every time you go around, you get something new. It's like you rise, and then you're at a level. First of all, you get into like this euphoria, because like, oh, the realizations, the understanding, the clarity. And then you then, once you overcome that and you've risen to that, you're ready for the next step. And then you go back around, and then there's another thing that you need to clear out. And what she was telling me, my friend, was that she felt like she might be going backwards. And I told her, there's no way you can go backwards. What you already know, you already know. It's like you're sitting on a bank of this spiritual knowing, or consciousness. And the higher you rise, or the more you overcome yourself, or however you want to look at it, there's so many different ways. Let's not get stuck on the words. Let's just understand the concept. Because a lot of times concepts have many different ways of explaining them, and better words. And we don't want to get stuck on the words. We want to understand the energetic concept. So a lot of times when we're rising on this spiritual awakening, and the spiritual awakening, the deeper we go within ourselves and solving ourselves, the closer we get to our core wounds, and the stronger we become. And the stronger we become, the more we can deal with. And the more that we, at first you're solving little problems, and they're just going like, like eating seeds. They just go quick. It's like snacks. And then when you start getting into your deeper, more detrimental things that have actually formed who you are, that are in there at your core beliefs from when you're a tiny child, it gets really uncomfortable, because your whole being is built on those beliefs. So you start going through the dark night of the soul, and you start going through these like turmoil, because you have to overcome yourself in order to rise to the next level, and overcoming yourself is painful. And so the deeper the wound, the harder it becomes, the more difficult it becomes to deal with, the more the pain. And so when you're rising, or when you are, working on these things, let's say the higher you rise, the more distance you get from your old ways of thinking, and from these from you're rising into euphoria. And so when you fall back down to fix something that in your core belief is off, the fall is much further. So when you fall back into old ways of thinking, let's say when I'm ascending on this ascension, and I'm realizing that I'm completely provided for, this is an example in my life, I realize that I'm provided for and that I'm doing my God's work, and that money doesn't always have to come in, abundance doesn't always have to come in from the obvious ways. As long as I'm doing my God's work, I'm being provided for. I just have to keep on moving and creating ways for the revenue to come in, to flow into my life. That means that I have to stay in movement and be in creation and try to be the most I can be in inspired creation, because in inspired creation things just flow to you naturally. You're inspired, and not allowing outside forces to come in and take away my inspiration. Old world habits of you have to work hard, which I have like integrated. I have like, it's like a in part of my being from when now I'm being able to watch my parents. I'm so blessed to still have my parents. I can watch my parents and how they interact and how with the world and their beliefs, and I can see how that was passed on to me, and I can see it within myself in these loops. That's why this time with my parents is so um, detrimental for my growth. These last couple of years, now I found my own place, but when the corona happened, that I had to move in with my parents, it like sat me in the hot spot of all of my false beliefs, all of the ways that I grew up like in this poverty mindset. And it's like you have to hold on to everything, and everything comes in, but there is no out. So it's kind of like a really small, things are hard to get. So you hold on to things, which actually creates the opposite. You just have a lot of junk around you because you're holding on to things instead of allowing things to flow through you and through your life. The dogs want to continue going in a minute. This is also getting really long, and I want it to be able to be comprehensible, or to be able to watch it through. So I appreciate whoever watches this all the way through. I think that it's valuable information for whoever needs it. And so when you get so far on your ascension, when you fall back into the old thought habits, and the old thought habits, you have I've talked about it before, you have these neuron paths in your brain that are used to firing together. So when you fall back into an old thought pattern, it's really easy for your mind to take you there really quick. It's like habit of thinking. It's like all of a sudden, oh no, it's doomsday with me, with the making a living thing. Growing up in the poverty mindset, I've already done it. I've been very blessed and lucky. I've already had a successful business. I already know what it feels like to live above the poverty. I've done it for years, so I know what it feels like. So I have that as an anchor, so I don't have to like work blindly, which is really good for me. But it's all in a mindset. And so when you're way up here and you're flying high on your high fly disc, and you fall back into your old patterns of thinking, there's such a great gap that is in between those two ways, that there's so much pain when you fall back down into these old thought patterns. And we fall back down into these old thought patterns until we overcome them. And that is the pain. And a lot of times there's Pandora boxes all over inside of us, all these little Pandora boxes that we don't even realize that are there. And they only open when we are able, when we are far enough along our path and strong enough to deal with them. Otherwise, they just stay there dormant and lead our lives, influence how we navigate our lives without us even knowing. They're like our silent little demons in there, our Pandora boxes that are taking us on these that are leading our fears and our emotions, and we don't even realize that they're there. These glass ceilings that are telling us what we can do and what we can't do, and what's, a lot of times when we try to imagine the life that we want, we already imagine it through these glass ceilings. Like, we don't fully imagine, like, what if, man, I could go and live on a yacht for a year and just travel the world. And, we don't even dare, our dreams are like tiny little dreams, like, oh, I want to fix up my kitchen, things like that, that we already have that glass ceiling on. And so it is basically, it's like breaking all of the glass ceilings And these glass ceilings are in these little Pandora boxes that are in us, that are closed beliefs, that are they're fighting for their existence. They don't want us to open them up and expose their lie that we can do whatever we want, because it's difficult. If everything is open to us, we feel like we don't have boundaries, we don't have something that's holding us down. But that is the whole essence of it, is letting go of all of that and just allowing ourselves to be free and open. And that is the not holding on to attachment. That is part of the rising, part of the, wow, my ears are like, I have like this buzz in my mind, because this is the first time that I'm really realizing this same thing that I'm saying now. It's like I channel these messages, and as they come through me, I'm understanding them, and I'm also getting the gift of them. So, the gift of giving, you get when you give. Whenever you find the universal law, it works throughout. So as long as I'm giving my gift that I came to give, I'm also getting it back. I'm also getting it back through feedback. I'm also getting it back through the understanding of these things on my own. I want to get back. And so understanding these things is very helpful for me too. So these little Pandora boxes are places that we're holding these core beliefs and that we need to let go of, because anything that we're holding is determining our life experience. If we're holding on to these beliefs, it's all in letting go and becoming flexible of mind, and allowing ourselves, not holding on to anybody for our experience, not holding on to any kind of belief, not holding on to anything. And I know that it's a balance. I know that there is no absolute. I'll show you where I'm at. There is no absolute in life. It's all finding balance. So everything is the yin and yang. Everything is the black and white. Everything is finding balance, is a paradox. Everything is about finding balance in between the two states of being. And the further along we get on this spiritual awakening, the more paradoxical everything becomes. Everything, you start seeing both sides of the spectrum. You start seeing that there is, this side is true and this side is true, and they coexist together. And the more paradoxes you find, the more holes you find. Whole as being like a whole. And everything is that way. Everything loops back around to find, every emotion loops back around. That's why when we want to find, if we have let's say, jealousy for something that somebody else is doing, you can actually find the opposite in that, which is you're looking for inspiration. You want that. That is why you're fighting. So jealousy is not an emotion that you're supposed to sit in. It's an emotion that moves you to find your inspiration in the ways of how you can also bring yourself into expression. So I really like this video. I think that a lot of really good things came of it. So I'm going to try to not make it too long. It's already like 48 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here, and I'm going to continue on my walk. So thank you for being with me, and I really hope that you stayed with me to the end, because there are a lot of really important things that have come through here. So thank you for watching, and I will record more as it comes through.